Okay, so hi everyone. Good afternoon from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm actually really excited to have this conversation with each and every one of you. So I'll just do a brief introduction of myself and tell you a bit about what I do before getting into this conversation. So meet me. Uh, my name is Adam Dukaoyum, like I said earlier on. I'm currently the ecosystem community manager at Google. What this means is I help build and run or manage the community groups, including the Google developer groups, that's GDG for short, and the Women Tech Maker communities here in Sub-Saharan Africa. I'm also the founder of Chica Africa. My talk is going to be centered around what we do at Chica Africa, so permit me to skip that for now. I'm also the co-founder of Open Source Community Africa. Open Source Community Africa is one of the largest communities for open source here in Africa, and our aim is to help African developers build more credible contributions and also build the open source space here in Africa. I'm a tech podcaster. I handle or carry out tech podcasts for developers here in Africa, not just developers, founders, designers, literally everyone involved in the tech ecosystem here in Africa. And once in a while, you'd find me creating tech parody videos that everyone in tech can relate to on TikTok. So moving into my topic is going to be focused on how we're empowering the African woman in tech here in the African tech ecosystem through what we do at She Code Africa. But I'd just like to give you a bit of an insight into who the average African woman in tech is. Now, the average African woman in tech is someone who typically strives to build up her career in tech amidst societal influences or societal misconceptions. Societal influences and conceptions like the average African mentality or the average African person's mentality, irrespective of background, the upbringing, sees the African woman or typically dictates the life of an African woman right from birth. A girl is born and it's already emphasized or it's already envisioned as to how she's going to move from, if she's ever going to have an education, how she's going to move from having an education, something that's going to take her into the feminine world. And then from there, marriage, and from marriage, childbearing. And then that's typically the end, from childbearing into homekeeping and every other thing. Now, the average African woman in tech is someone who's trying to strive and irrespective of what people are trying to dictate her life, she's trying to succeed in a career that she has a passion for. In this sense, is tech. The average African woman in tech is someone who also struggles to prove her competence in the STEM background or the STEM field across educational institutions. You go to schools, you go to universities, tertiary institutions, and primary institutions, and you see these people who you see teachers, educators, you see lecturers with that mentality, irrespective of the exposure. Now, this is not just everyone. It can be limited to the number of people who carry out this kind of mentality or who carry out this ideology. You see these educators, even with their level of experience, still trying to dictate how much a woman can contribute in that particular field or how much she can be competent in that particular field. So that's the typical average African woman in tech with all of these issues. She's also someone who faces multiple challenges hindering her growth in her field. Challenges like lack of finance, there's money to either get a PC or a laptop to start learning, money to either get courses that would help her in her field, money to either move into or scale into whatever field in tech that she wants to. And then there's also learning resources. It still ties down a bit to lack of finance. Learning resources can also be lack of opportunities to excel in her field. Opportunities like scholarship opportunities, you see a lot of scholarship opportunities that limit the countries that it is open to, or that limit the continents that it participates in, basically. And then job opportunities as well. Job opportunities also ties down to the last point, which is being faced with stigmas of being Black or being African. I'll use myself as an example. Being Nigerian, we have to face the stigma, aside all the other stigmas that I have talked about, we have to also face the stigma of the Nigerian prince scam. And you see a lot of employers, you see a lot of people telling you, oh, we're sorry, but we can't employ you because you're from Nigeria. And we understand that, yes, they might be trying to protect their integrity, but it's also cutting us off from some opportunities just because of that stigma. And then finally, the stigma of being Black, being African, we have to learn how to survive within our countries. We still have to learn how to survive as being Africans, and then we still have to learn how to survive as being Blacks within the global world or the global scene. We've had several encounters where people basically derive us of different opportunities just because of our skin color. Yes, that actually does exist still up to date. So that's like the average African woman in tech and the average issues that she has to go through just because she decides to come into the tech scene. Now, amidst every of these things, there's still women who go out there to do amazing well. The women who, irrespective of the challenges, irrespective of all the um, rock holes and everything that they have to go through, still do really well. I would use myself as an example, but because I'm giving this talk, I would like to point out three women that their stories really resonate well with myself and with almost every other woman. The first person is Ire Aderinokun. Ire is the co-founder of Bitcoins. Bitcoins is a financial institution, but focused on cryptocurrency. She's also the first Google developer expert for web in the sub-Saharan African region, and also the first woman to be the Google developer expert in Nigeria. There is Odunayo Iweni. Just to circle back on Ire, Ire is also the co-founder and VP of engineering at Bitcoins. She's also an amazing front-end developer. Odunayo is co-founder and COO of Piggyvest. Piggyvest is one of the top financial institutions in Nigeria. Odunayo started her career in tech with literally no experience, no background. She started her career in tech entrepreneurship, basically, with no experience and no background. And today she's one of the top women who are doing really well in Africa. There's also Julia Rotish of Ushahidi. Now, with all of the challenges that I have explained earlier on, this four resonate with almost everyone or every woman who comes into this field or who is African and comes into this field while living here in Africa, basically. The first one is low representation. I know this is a global issue where we're trying to bridge that gender gap or the gender diversity in the tech ecosystem. But bringing it down here with the African mentality or the societal challenges that we face here in Africa, it's a lot more difficult. You see women who they reach out to me because of what I do at Chica Africa at Google. I'm opportune to work with a lot of these women, and I know the challenges that they face. I've had several women reach out to me and tell me, oh, one of the reasons why I drop out from tech, one of the reasons why I don't want to scale further in tech is because it feels really weird that I'm the only one on my team and my team is not supportive. A lot of people on this team have no idea how to be more inclusive or how to create more diversity within their team. So it's very, very, very discouraging for these women. There are also women who like to ask themselves, like, and this is much more rampant or much more common to those who have had to build their careers outside the African tech ecosystem. And they ask themselves, I mean, are there other African women in tech like me? It also boils down to low representation. Are there women who are in C-level positions? Are there women who are founders, co-founders who are doing amazing things that I can look up to and get inspiration from? Then there are young girls who are in secondary schools or high schools, who are in primary institutions, and they are scared that people will see them as incompetent because, oh, they're the female gender or they're just girls, and people see them as incompetent. So they want to come into tech, they want to come into the STEM field, but because of that, that mentality or because of the biasness that they face, they would rather not and just go with the flow or go with the crowd. And then there's also the last one about finance, where, I mean, they can't afford to even own a smartphone. and not to talk less of owning a laptop to learn how to code. Like laptops are like one of the major issues that stop a lot of people not having laptops, not having basic laptops, that stop a lot of people from coming into this field or even excelling in this field. I've seen a lot of women who, because of the absence of that, it's really bugged them so much that they've had to find other means to really survive before thinking of coming into tech. It's no longer a basic need. It's now more of a secondary thought. Now, here's where She Code Africa comes into play. So I'll give a brief introduction of what we do at She Code Africa. At the moment, we're currently a non-registered, we're registered nonprofit, rather, we're registered nonprofit, and we're focused on celebrating and also empowering these young girls and women in tech across Africa with technical skills and soft skills that will help them grow in their careers. It's not just about saying, oh, I identify as a woman in tech. We also want people to see these girls, these women as more than just their gender and beyond their gender and more of their technical skills and what they can bring to the table, basically. Right now, we exist in over 17 countries listed on my screen. We have an active community of 5,000 plus members, and our initiatives, irrespective of how COVID-19 has had to like hit us and we have to pivot to online or virtual activities, we've still been able to reach about over 2,000 young girls and women via our programs and our initiatives. And then because of how we understand that when these women come into tech, we also want to pair them, we also want to put them together with people, industry experts, who would help them, guide them, and take them through the different steps that they need to um, go on to become better. We pair them with technical mentors. And so far, we've been able to get over 100 technical mentors via our mentorship program, which I would talk on later. Now, from the issues that I listed above, how have we been able to tackle all of this at She Code Africa? Now, just to point out that there are other organizations like She Code Africa that are doing really amazing, irrespective of support or no support, is doing really, really amazing to help create more diversity in the African tech ecosystem and globally as well. Now, at She Code Africa, one of the major things that we pointed out or highlighted is the aspect of catching them young, which is via our grassroots programs. We understand that when we reach out to these ladies when they're still young and still have an opportunity to find out more, to learn more about what it means to come into STEM, it's a lot easier to direct their decisions and make them see that coming into STEM isn't just for men, it's not just for the guys. And we do this through our summer code camp. Our summer code camp is a program specifically for high school students, that's girls in high school, with from ages 10 to 18. Now we have technical classes and career focused classes where the summer code camp is basically like a summer program during their summer holidays. And we teach them various technical topics on the various technical fields like web design, robotics, and the rest. And then we also have industry experts coming who are ladies coming to talk to them about how it is being in STEM, give them tips, and possibly move on to mentor them even after the program. And we've been lucky enough to reach over 500 plus young girls across Africa. We also understand how, I mean, for someone like me, I like to use my experience a lot in the activities that we run at Chica Africa. I know how it was when I was in high school and how no one would want to reach out to us because, the African mentality. And then in university, I was lucky enough to find a tech group in my school that was inclusive enough. It was actually a Google group that was inclusive enough before I became the leader of that tech group. But there are several other ladies in tertiary institutions that don't even have the opportunity to have a tech group existing in their community, or one that is inclusive enough to say, oh, irrespective of if you're studying computer science, I didn't study computer science, and I was lucky enough to find a community that was going to accept me without me studying computer science. And there are ladies out there who, because they don't study computer science, they find it hard communicating with groups like this that exist in their school. So what we do at Chica Africa is we also have chapter programs. Now, our chapter programs isn't specifically just for tertiary institutions or for those who are in high school or in learning institutions. Basically, it's also for ladies who are in cities that lack the presence of tech groups. There are lots of cities like that. There are over several countries in Africa, and there are countries where the tech activities are very, very minor. So what we try to do is we also create chapters using women who are active in those communities to grow their skills. We give them ambassador positions, and then they organize technical and non-technical events sponsored by Chica Africa. The essence is to create a safe community for these women to identify and grow their skills and also connect with other women around them. And so far, we've been able to have like 25 chapters across the following countries. Then we also have technical programs. Our major aim is to, like I mentioned earlier, is for girls or women who come into our community to grow their technical skills. We want Chico Africa to be that pipeline where when they come into the community, they're able to, when they exit, if they do exit, they're able to go out there in the world and say, oh yes, my level of knowledge when I got into this community and where I am right now is not the same thing. The major thing, like I said, I was going to talk about is our mentorship program. And there are several women who come into this who come into the ecosystem, and they have no idea, especially now that we're trying to encourage people from non-traditional backgrounds to come into the field. They have no idea the next step to take. I mean, yes, there are also available free resources. You can bombard one with as many resources as possible, but if they don't have that guidance, it's going to be a lot difficult for them. So there's the mentorship program. Our mentorship program, like I said on here, we pair them one-on-one with industry experts in different fields. And for 3 months, we create a well-defined curriculum where in each month they have to build projects, they have to learn and work with mentors and build their technical skills basically. And then there's also the soft skills where at the end of every month, we bring them together and talk on different soft skills like teamwork, communication, and things like that. We kick off fully in 2019, and so far we've been able to graduate over 300 plus mentees, and over 40% of them have been able to gain full-time employment. A lot of them use the mentorship program as a learning platform to boost their skills, and then after coming out they were able to gain that full-time employment, which is a huge deal and a huge success story for us. Then we also have we carry out technical boot camps as well for those who are not able to get into our mentorship program but still want to partake in our programs and all. We carry out boot camps across different fields and different topics, both remote and physical events, and so on. These are pictures, and pictures I add there are pictures from some of our events that we've been able to carry out. Now, another thing that we try to do is, aside pairing these people with mentors who are experts in the industries, carrying out events or creating chapters in different communities, we also try to bring everyone who is a member of this ecosystem, irrespective if you're a member of our community or not. We try to bring everyone together and hold career conversations, because it's one thing to identify as someone who is in tech. It's one thing to have the technical skills, but if you don't have someone you can connect to, if you don't have somebody tell you about their experience in the industry, it's going to be a bit difficult because you have no one who is foreseeing the future for you. So what we try to do is we also have career conversations where we bring top women in the field to talk about different things, different aspects of the field, either share technical learnings or give their insights into that particular field. Now, the screenshot that you're seeing on my screen is from Julie Okonkwa, the conversation we had with her. She is the founder of Emisi 3D. Emisi 3D is an AR, VR, MR organization. It's a top organization here in Africa. And this is her sharing more insight as to what AR, MR, and VR is. And then another issue that we try to tackle is the aspect of learning resources. As much as we can do, we give out technical resources. Some ladies are lucky enough to have the basics, have things like laptops, and have things like internet connectivity and things like that. So we try to give out learning resources to women who, or scholarships to women who are deserving of it, women who show that extra effort to want to do more, women who, irrespective of the challenges they're facing, they want to go for that. And there's a number of resources that we've been able to give out. But then there's still women who, the basic thing, as simple as internet connectivity. Here in Africa, Africa is like a mobile first continent, and it's also an offline first continent, in the sense that people prefer using offline resources. It's not so convenient for the average person to come online and say, I want to study for 8 hours online, because of things like internet expense or data connectivity expense. So what we try to do is, we understand that if they can't afford the very basics, which is as simple as connectivity, as data connectivity or internet connectivity, it's definitely going to be invalid if we're giving them courses and we're saying, oh, we're having career conversations, we're doing this, we're doing that, everything that still boils down to being online. So what we try to do is, we also give out data sponsorship, because we know how tough it can be for some people. There are countries here in Africa where data expense is really, really high, and there are countries where for some people it's manageable. So for people like that who fall into the category of it being really, really expensive, we try to sponsor them with data sponsorship or data connectivity for them to come online and learn with these resources that we give them. And then also there are career ebooks that we purchase to give them, because like I said, it's not just about having technical skills, having skills that would help you scale interviews, that would help you perform better in your team and things like that. We also emphasize on them. Now, here are some of our success stories. What you're seeing currently on my screen, this is my very favorite success story from what we do here at Chica Africa. Ruth Ikega, she started her journey here at Chica Africa as of March 2020. And in a few months, she started from our mentorship program that I listed earlier on. From a mentorship program, she became active in our open source program, which we call it the Women of Oscar, which is a community initiative or partnership with my open source community Africa. So She Code Africa and Open Source Community Africa, that's Women of Oscar. From there, she became really active into open source, and in a few months' time, she became the first woman from Nigeria to become the GitHub star. So that's like really amazing for us. As you see here, she's one of the cohort 2 graduates from our mentorship program. And in 2020 alone, we've been able to like train 20% of our mentees. Now, it's not just about training these people, but we also want to get them to, once they get that training, how do they get real-time experience or real-life experience into practicing everything that they've trained. We put them in companies that are willing to take them in either full-time job opportunities or internships, but then we also try to integrate them into the team here at Chica Africa, either as volunteers or mostly as volunteers, where they can pass on the knowledge, because that's what we do. We at Chica Africa, we run on two things. One is self-learning, and the second one is passing on the knowledge. So when you learn, you're passing on to the next set of people who are coming in as community members. And then we've been able to partner with several organizations. I would list some of them out to create more diversity in their hiring and many more. And on my lower screen here, you would see this is one of our members dropping the good news about her getting a job as a QA. Now, some of our successful partnerships, we have different type of partnerships, from program partners to community partners, training partners, and so on. Program partners, this year, 2020, we were able to partner with the Lagos State government here in Nigeria to run our summer code camp. What we did was we partnered with them to train secondary school girls from public schools here in Lagos State for free, giving them, that's under the summer code camp. And then we also partnered with Demos to create a program specifically focused on cloud. Now, the idea behind this was from our mentorship program, we have a cloud track, or more like a DevOps track, where we noticed that there was really, really low participation from women who wanted to come into this field. And I personally carried out several surveys to find out why. And we found out reasons as to it being people thought it was a bit too complex or things like that. There's no one to guide them. So we're currently working with Demos. From next year, we'll be working with them to create the cloud bootcamp and have these women specifically interested in cloud grow their skills in cloud engineering and come out as SREs. And then we've also partnered community partners, like I mentioned. This is Open Source Community Africa, for the women of Oscar, specifically focused on our open source programs. Then there's Shicluded, we're working with them or partnering with them to create laptop loans for women who can afford to get laptops, women from our communities that can afford to get laptops. We're creating laptop loans from them. And then there's also this. Then we have our training partners, eWorker and Treford. So what we do is with this training partners is for eWorker, our members who are doing really amazing but want to know what particular level or skill they are currently at. We use eWorker to carry out a training assessment for them to know where their skills are and how they can improve on it. And then for Treford, we work with them to specifically on product management. For product management is also another field that we've noticed that there are lesser number of women, lesser number of people interested in it. So when we find a field that women are not so interested in, or we find out that they have very little idea of them, we try to work with companies to see how we can get them, how we can get more women to participate in that field. Now, here's the thing. We actually want to do a lot more. We get several requests. People reach out to us. They would really want to learn this or they want to learn that. How can they work with us? And things like that. So there are two ways if you'd like to work with Chica Africa. One is you can become a donor. You can donate to what we do. At the moment, we are big on two things, which is financial donations to cater for our chapter activities and our programs that we run here at Chica Africa. And also, second one is laptop donations. There are several, I mean, it's uncountable. There's several women who are not lucky enough to participate or to gain from what we do because of simple things as a laptop device. To move to get like a laptop. So I'm going to like hurry up real quick to get laptop devices. So these are the several things that we're open to: financial donations, laptop donations, or learning resources. So if you'd like to, the link is on there, chicoafrica.org/donate, or you can reach out to us if there are other things that you'd like to donate that you might not find on here. It's our programs at chicoafrica.org. And then also you can become a partner. We're really open. This is my favorite part. We're really open to working with several communities or several companies who would like to partner with us either in community or in program or hiring. We have a lot of ladies that we train, but they find it really hard integrating back in the workforce. So we are open to getting companies who would be willing to take in our ladies either as interns or on full-time opportunities. So you can reach out to us on partnerships@chicoafrica.org. So I try really fast to wrap up things. I'm always available for any questions either here or after today's session. I'm on Twitter at Colocodes. That's my LinkedIn on the screen. And you can either email me at ada@chicoafrica.org. Thank you everyone for listening to my talk, and I hope you learned something.